When a woman tells you about her problems, it's like stepping into a psychological minefield. You're either going to blow it by saying the wrong thing, or you'll navigate it smoothly and come out looking like the emotionally intelligent guy she can't stop thinking about. But here's the kicker. Most guys don't even realize they're in this situation until it's too late. They either jump straight into fix-it mode, throwing out solutions like they're on a game show, or they freeze, thinking, why is she telling me this? What am I supposed to do with this information? Spoiler alert, both responses are wrong, and both will cost you. You have to understand that when a woman opens up about her problems, it's not just random venting. It's a test, a subtle, subconscious evaluation of how you handle her emotions and whether you're someone she can trust. This isn't about solving anything. It's about showing her that you can listen, understand, and empathize without making it about yourself. Sounds simple, right? Except it's not, because most men are wired to approach problems like puzzles to be solved. That instinct to fix things is great when your car breaks down, but in relationships it's one of the quickest ways to kill emotional intimacy. Let's break this down. When she says something like, "I've been so stressed at work. My boss keeps giving me impossible deadlines," what she's really doing is handing you a golden opportunity. She's not just sharing her day, she's opening a door to emotional connection. The question is, are you going to step through it, or are you going to slam it shut by saying something like, "Just talk to your boss about it," or "Maybe you're overthinking it"? Those kinds of responses signal one thing, that you don't really get her. And once she feels that disconnect, it's game over. Here's what most guys don't realize. Women value emotional safety. If she can't feel safe opening up to you, she won't see you as someone she can truly connect with. And without that connection, you're just another guy in her phone, easily replaced and quickly forgotten. So how do you avoid falling into that trap? It starts by understanding what she's really looking for. She's not asking for solutions. She's asking for validation. She wants to know that you're paying attention, that you care, and that you're capable of handling her emotions without freaking out or dismissing her. When she shares her problems, it's not about the words she's saying. It's about the feelings behind them. She's not telling you about her stressful day because she needs advice on time management. She's telling you because she wants to feel understood. And if you can make her feel that way, you're already ahead of 90% of the competition. Now let's dive deeper. When she's opening up about her problems, it's not just an opportunity for you to build emotional intimacy. It's also her way of measuring your emotional intelligence. Think about it. How you respond when she's vulnerable tells her everything she needs to know about what kind of partner you might be. Are you going to be the guy who brushes her off? The guy who panics and doesn't know what to say? Or will you be the guy who makes her feel seen, heard, and understood? Spoiler: the third option is the one that locks you into her mind as someone she can trust. Here's where things get tricky. Most men assume that being a good listener means sitting there quietly and nodding occasionally. But let's be real. Nodding like a bobblehead isn't going to cut it. Women are highly intuitive, and they'll pick up on whether you're genuinely engaged or just pretending to care. So, what does it actually mean to listen? It means being present. It means putting your phone away, making eye contact, and giving her your full attention. And most importantly, it means responding in a way that validates her feelings. For instance, if she says, "I'm so tired of my friends always canceling at the last minute," don't just shrug and say, "That sucks." Instead, acknowledge how that situation might make her feel. You could say something like, "That must be so frustrating. It's like they're not valuing your time." See the difference? One response feels dismissive, while the other shows that you're tuned into her emotions. This kind of validation is like emotional gold. It makes her feel understood. And that's what she's really craving. But here's where most guys mess up. They think validation means agreeing with everything she says, even when they don't. Let's get this straight. Validation is not the same as blind agreement. You don't have to share her opinion to acknowledge her feelings. If she's upset about something you don't fully understand, you can still say, "I can see why that would upset you," without pretending you feel the same way. It's about empathy, not alignment. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the temptation to offer solutions. Look, I get it. When someone shares a problem, your first instinct is to fix it. But here's the harsh truth. Most of the time, she doesn't want you to fix anything. She's not looking for a handyman. She's looking for an emotional anchor. Offering solutions when she hasn't asked for them can come across as dismissive, as if you're saying, "Your problem isn't that big of a deal. Here's a quick fix so we can move on." And trust me, that's not the vibe you want to give off. Instead, try flipping the script. When she opens up about a problem, resist the urge to jump in with advice. Instead, ask questions that show you're genuinely interested in her perspective. For example, if she's venting about a difficult coworker, don't immediately suggest ways she could handle the situation. Instead, say something like, "That sounds really challenging. How has that been making you feel?" By doing this, you're not just listening. You're creating a space where she feels valued, supported, and understood. And that, my friend, is how you build a connection that lasts. Instead, say something like, "That sounds really frustrating. How do you usually deal with that?" This approach not only shows that you're engaged, but also gives her the space to process her feelings without feeling judged or dismissed. Here's where things start to get even more interesting. When you respond to her problems the right way, you're not just showing emotional intelligence, you're also subtly demonstrating your value. Let me explain. Women are naturally drawn to men who can create a sense of emotional stability. If she feels like you can handle her emotions without shutting down or overreacting, she'll start to see you as someone who's different from the rest. That's because emotional maturity isn't just attractive, it's rare. Most guys crumble under the weight of emotional conversations. They either get defensive, turn the focus back on themselves, or check out entirely. But when you can hold space for her emotions without making it about you, it sends a powerful message. You're someone she can rely on. And reliability. That's a game changer in relationships. Now let's talk about the balance between listening and contributing. There's a fine line between being empathetic and being a doormat. You don't want to come across as someone who's just there to absorb all her negativity without ever asserting your own thoughts or boundaries. Women respect men who can hold their ground while still being compassionate. For example, if she's upset and starts venting about a situation where you genuinely feel like her perspective might be off, you can validate her feelings without necessarily agreeing with her. Take a response like, "I can see why you'd feel that way, but have you thought about it from this angle?" This shows that you're listening while also offering a fresh perspective. This kind of balance is what separates emotionally available men from nice guys who just agree with everything in the hopes of gaining approval. Women can spot fake agreeableness from a mile away, and trust me, it's not a good look. Being emotionally present doesn't mean sacrificing your own authenticity. It's about meeting her where she's at without losing yourself in the process. Here's another thing to keep in mind. How you react to her problems is often a reflection of how you react to your own. If you're the type of person who avoids your own emotions or brushes off your struggles, that's going to show up in how you engage with hers. Women notice these patterns, even if they don't consciously realize it. If you can't handle your own emotional baggage, how can she trust you to help her with hers? That's why emotional self-awareness is so important. Before you can be there for someone else, you need to get real with yourself. How do you typically respond when you're stressed, upset, or overwhelmed? Do you shut down, lash out, or distract yourself with work or hobbies? If you're not sure, now's the time to figure it out. Because if you can't navigate your own emotions, you're going to struggle when it comes to helping her navigate hers. And here's the kicker. When you're emotionally self-aware, it changes the entire dynamic of your interactions. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding thoughtfully. This doesn't just make you a better partner, it makes you a more grounded, confident person overall. And that kind of energy, it's magnetic. Now let's peel back another layer. When a woman shares her problems with you, it's not just about the moment, it's about the connection you're building over time. Emotional bonds aren't formed through grand gestures or constant excitement. They're built in these small, vulnerable moments when she feels safe enough to let her guard down, and you respond in a way that makes her feel supported. That's when trust begins to solidify. And trust, that's the foundation of any meaningful relationship. But here's where things get even more nuanced. Women often test emotional waters without even realizing it. She might share something minor at first to gauge your reaction. If you handle it well, by listening, validating, and engaging thoughtfully, she'll feel comfortable opening up about deeper issues later on. On the flip side, if you respond poorly, by dismissing her feelings, making it about yourself, or coming across as uninterested, she'll shut down. And once she does, it's hard to rebuild that bridge. Think of these interactions as deposits in an emotional bank account. Every time you respond with empathy and understanding, you're adding to that account. But if you ignore her feelings or handle them insensitively, you're making a withdrawal. Too many withdrawals, and the account runs dry. The key is to consistently make those deposits so that when challenges arise, the emotional bond you've built can withstand the strain. Now let's address a common fear. What if she shares something that feels overwhelming or outside your depth? Maybe it's a problem you don't understand or an emotional wound you don't know how to address. The worst thing you can do is pretend to have all the answers or downplay her feelings because you are uncomfortable. Instead, admit, when you don't know what to say, make it clear that you're there for her. A simple, "I can't imagine how tough that must be, but I'm here for you," can go a long way. Vulnerability doesn't mean having all the answers. It means showing up, even when it's hard. This is also where emotional resilience comes into play. Women are drawn to men who can remain calm and composed, even in the face of difficult emotions. If she sees that you can handle her emotional storms without getting swept away, she'll feel secure with you. But let's clarify, being calm doesn't mean being cold. It's about being steady and present, not detached or robotic. A calm demeanor paired with genuine empathy is the sweet spot. And don't underestimate the power of follow-up. If she shares something personal or troubling, check in with her later. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. A simple text like, "Hey, I've been thinking about what you said earlier. How are you feeling now?" shows that you care beyond the initial conversation. This kind of thoughtfulness reinforces the idea that you're not just someone who listens in the moment, but someone who truly values her and her experiences. Lastly, remember that this is a two-way street. While it's important to be there for her, healthy relationships involve mutual support. If you're always the one providing emotional validation and never receiving it, that's a red flag. A woman who values you will want to reciprocate and create a balanced dynamic. The goal isn't to become her emotional caretaker. It's to build a partnership where both of you feel seen, heard, and supported. Now we arrive at the final piece of the puzzle, the long-term effects of how you handle these moments. When a woman feels like she can share her problems with you, and you consistently respond with patience, empathy, and understanding, it creates something rare, emotional intimacy. This isn't about being her therapist or solving all her problems. It's about becoming someone she genuinely trusts, someone she feels safe with. That kind of connection is what keeps relationships thriving. But here's the kicker. Emotional intimacy isn't just about her. It's about you too. When you cultivate this kind of bond, it opens the door for her to be there for you in the same way. It's not about one person constantly giving while the other takes. It's about building a space where both of you can be vulnerable, honest, and real. That's what creates lasting attraction and respect. Now, don't mistake this for a one-size-fits-all approach. Every woman is different, and every situation requires a certain level of nuance. The key is to stay authentic and flexible. Pay attention to her cues, and don't be afraid to adjust your approach as you learn more about what she needs and values. And here's the thing. When you get this right, it doesn't just impact your relationship with her. It changes how you show up in all areas of your life. Becoming someone who is emotionally grounded, self-aware, and empathetic isn't just attractive. It's transformative. It makes you a better partner, friend, and person overall. And that kind of growth, it's priceless. So, the next time a woman shares her problems with you, don't see it as a chore or a test. See it as an opportunity. An opportunity to deepen your connection, to show her what sets you apart, and to create a bond that's built on trust and mutual respect. Because when you master this, you're not just someone she likes, you're someone she can't help but value. If you've made it this far, you're already miles ahead of most people. So don't stop now. Hit that subscribe button and keep leveling up your relationships.